And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Wisdom Transmissions Live. Hope you're all doing very well today. We are going to be going into an Adronis transmission here very shortly. So Adronis is going to be sharing a special announcement. And then we're going to be going into readings, questions as well too. Okay, so again, if I am doing personal readings right now, so if you are interested in getting a personal reading by donation, then I'll be going right to your question for priority sequence. And of course, if you just have any general questions, those are fine. You can simply put those in the chat, and I will take care of those as well too. In the next little bit, we'll be going into announcements halfway. That feels like a new day. It feels like here we are, the day after Election Day in the United States, and it looks like Trump has won, right? So this is a very good sign, and I think there's going to be a lot of other changes, big transformations that are going to be coming about as we get into the 2025 year. This is basically what I've been seeing, is things like this happening. So we are going to talk about that more when we get into the Q&A. Of course, with what Adronis is going to be sharing. Should be very interesting. And again, if you do have donation-based questions for personal readings, please let me know and just put it in the chat, and I'll be getting around to you. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and get started with Adronis. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to bring him through. He'll give an introduction, and then he'll get into his transmission, and then announcements, and then working with you guys through questions and topics that you have. All right, let's get started. Tira Soul Star Sirius Adronis. We are here at this time. We bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. What we'd like to ask all of you at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and to tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. We want to say that this is leading into a benchmark time of a new beginning for all of you. That throughout this particular time, even just throughout your month of November, you have had thousands of what you term as timeline shifts. Many of you who are predicting certain things that could lead to disaster or other particular agendas that may have gotten in the way, representing these important events taking place upon your planet. Well, there have been timeline shifts that have rearranged everything. This is why we say that where you are going right now is leading to a much more major cleanup that is taking place. In fact, you're going to find a lot more of the cleanup happening in front of the scenes and not just behind the scenes as you start moving into the 2025 year. We will also state that you are approximately just under now 2 months away from the inverted solstice. As we have talked about, that inverted solstice represents a major shift, a major change to where the world that you once knew will start to phase itself out into something completely new. Everything is going to fundamentally change all around you, which means in the idea of everything that has been left dirty, that has been left corrupt, that has been left in regards to its festering, of causing nothing but heartache, causing nothing but, again, the service of the few and the disservice of the many. All of that is going to fundamentally change. So you are basically getting out of the first half of the cleanup decade, and you are coming now into the second half of the cleanup decade that represents this powerful major cleanup agenda. You are going to notice that these particular leaders that were around your planet that were, again, serving their own particular interests are going to be losing their authority. Well, they basically have two choices. Number one is they can go along with the new plan, or number two, they will be released from their authority. It's really what it comes down to. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of that. You are going to see, again, everything that represents certain characters that were very much in attempting to start a third world war leave the picture. They are going to be leaving the stage, so to speak. There is not going to be a third world war. And we have always talked about this for quite some time, where many of you getting into fear, thinking that, oh my goodness, Adronis, I think we're leading into a third world war. We will say no. That's not where your planet is going. The planet is not looking for a third world war. She wants to move upwards. She's not moving down. If you were moving down, very different story. And we would probably agree with you on that. But that's not where you're going. You're moving upwards. You're not moving downwards. So even though you may be starting from rock bottom, you're still making this ascent upwards into something new. Which means in the times ahead, as we have talked about with the nature of 2026 to 2028, you're going to notice that your entire financial situation is going to change drastically, which means it is highly probable that around those particular 3 years, you are going to have what's known as a universal income. That is going to be part of especially these next 4 years from 2025 to 2029. Beginning and starting to bring into fruition that particular time of a universal income. All the money that has basically been stolen by the people is going to be given back. That's what's happening. And you are looking, as you would say, at your billions and billions of dollars. Not only that, but it's going to be put together in new programs that is going to help in regards to, shall we say, healing of the planet, healing of yourselves. We're not talking about med beds here, but what we're talking about is new programs that are working together in helping to restore the planet. She has been majorly polluted. And also new technologies that are not going to pollute her anymore. So there is going to be a great significant change taking place, not all at once, but throughout the span of the next few years, you are going to see these changes happen. You are moving now into a whole new world. Now, Adronis, is it over? Is it completely finished pertaining to this cabal? Not quite, but it certainly is moving in that direction for that to happen. There is still going to be many retaliations pertaining to them. There's still going to be, again, disruptions that they will attempt to do, but nothing that will, as you would say, be long-lasting. But they are basically on their last legs. We would liken it to the idea of a funeral, and that the body has already been put into the casket, and now they're just putting on the lid, and they're hammering it down one nail at a time. And that corpse, representing what is contained inside the casket, would represent the cabal. So that is exactly what is taking place right now. It is going to lead to a major cleanup, a major takedown that you are actually seeing in front of the scenes. In fact, you may notice that many of your celebrities in that way, who are very much being very, very clear about pulling towards the side that wanted war, are going to be put into this limelight. You have a particular celebrity that you refer to as Diddy, who again has been exposed in many, many ways. And you're going to find many accomplices relating to him that are going to be again in front of the scenes, a takedown. You are also going to see much more of the higher ups that are going to be going into that particular takedown at the same time. It is a massive cleanup. You will see it happen. So everything that represents much of this demonic parasitical system that has been happening upon your planet for many thousands of years, you are going to watch it get cut down. It is this poisonous tree. It is this poisonous presence that has basically usurped nature with its own contamination. And you are now seeing that particular tree being pulled out by its roots, not being cut down, but literally being pulled out by its roots so that it will never have an opportunity to grow back again. That's where you're moving into. As we get into the inverted solstice, to which truly represents the natural alignment of the solstice, because in times past, solstices and equinoxes were often used in regards to states of severe perversion, to attempt to bring about manifestations that represented more shackles to be placed upon humanity and the planet. And now it's inverting again to move it back into its natural formation. No longer looking at the inverted pentagram, but now looking at the properly aligned pentagram. That's why we call it an inverted solstice. It's inverting itself back to return back into harmony. And this is the first time that it has happened in many, many, many years. And so this is leading you into witnessing an incredible major cleanup taking place behind the scenes. Adronis, what will the President Donald Trump do now that he is going to be coming back into the office? Massive exposure, massive cleaning, massive deportation. So you are going to see a lot of intense agendas taking place in 2025 that is, as you would say, cleaning the house. Not only him, but he is going to be an influence for many other leaders who are deciding to stand up, and they are going to do similar things for their countries. They are basically going to end the invasions. These are not immigrations. This is invasion. And so what they're doing is they're taking out the invaders of such countries, deporting them out of the countries. This is going to take place not only in America, it is also going to happen in Canada, it is also going to happen in the UK, it is also going to happen in Australia, it's going to happen in many different European countries. A lot of places are going to lead to the idea of deportation. And deportation, again, is simply the alibi, the motive that is being used to basically clear out the invaders. If you basically had the other side take power, then that is basically what they were going to intensify. They would dissolve the borders altogether and bring in even more criminal cartels from all over the entire planet. And they would initiate a phase of a civil war taking over that particular country, which means innocents would basically be harmed or even killed. That's basically what they were attempting to do. This has been averted. So it is not going to lead to the triggering of a major civil war happening from country to country to country to country to country to country. That is all going to be dissolved, which means every single country that has had this issue pertaining to invaders is going to be taking action between this next year or so, and also bring about massive deportation efforts. Adronis, what about extraterrestrials? What about the ET presence? Well, that is going to become a lot more well known. Now, as we have stated, this is not leading to a first contact, but this is leading to an ET awareness, an awareness of the extraterrestrial presence, an awareness of off-worlders. It is not going to lead to the idea of a mutual contact, but it is going to keep people much more informed that, yes, there is actually an admission that we have had interactions with other beings beyond our world in the past. The question may come, well, are they communicating right now? The answer would be no, quite commonly through much of your politicians. But the answer in truth is yes. But to save face, they will basically say, no, we've had no such contacts. Yes, you have. You've been having contacts going back into your 1930s and into your 1940s. And again, it still does gradually take place, not so much in the public eye, but through, again, meetings that take place. We would say one of those strongholds for quite commonly on-world and off-world task forces to meet is at Cheyenne Mountain. So that is one of the strongholds that does take place between the on-worlders and the off-worlders. They meet quite commonly and quite frequently at Cheyenne Mountain. So what we can say is that there will be a great deal of disclosure. There will be further exposures coming out as you move further into the 2025 year, but we will give you more information as you get closer to that time. What we are here to let you know at this time is that you have seen the light prevail upon the planet. And this is not the end. There are many more timelines that are going to shift. You are going to be experiencing a great deal of realigned timelines where it can be quite challenging to predict precisely what is taking place because everything is shifting much more intensely than ever before. As we stated, that as you move into the solstice, this too is leading into a major shift, a major turnaround, a major change that is at the benchmark, that is at the precipice of moving yourselves into much more of a prosperous time ahead where people will be taking their power back. We thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction. We will now pause and begin your question and answer period. Thank you very much. One moment. Okay. So that's some exciting news. So just my own particular take on this as well too, right? I was looking at quite a few different people, whether they're astrologers or psychics, mediums, so forth. And just a lot of the doom and gloom that they were predicting. It was unbelievable. Oh, I know Trump's not going to get in. He's gonna basically get taken out of the picture. He's going to get assassinated, and then there's going to be the Democrats, and they're going to come together, and then we're going to have World War III. And it was just really, really bleak pictures. And people would come to me and say, Brad, do you see this happening? Right? I get quite a few people that saying, Brad, please give us some good news. It's just all these psychics and astrologers on the internet are just predicting doom and gloom for this whole election. They're predicting doom and gloom, thinking that the Democrats are going to take over and that the borders are going to be completely gone. There's going to be civil war and it's going to lead to World War III. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing any of that stuff happen. Right. And I said, I do primarily see Trump getting into office. I do see him winning this. Right. And I said, the best I can give is 90% because there's always that 10% that can change. But I would say 90%, I would say he's in it. He's going to be the next president, right? This is going to be his second term, and he's going to be making a lot of changes because he has a much better team this time around. His first term team was absolutely deplorable and horrible. He basically had lobbyists in his first term. Second term, he has much more people of character. He has a lot more people who are as committed to changing everything around as he is. Very different type of term this time around. So this is exactly what I've been saying, is that no, he would, I'm feeling very strongly that 90% that he would get into office. And that's basically what's happening. So there you go. And again, other people so worried about the Third World War, about World War III, about how everything's going to be taken over and how the cabal, like you guys are giving these guys way too much credit. Why? Because like I said, the counter forces basically outnumber them at least 10-1, right? You are watching them die out, right? This is why they've had such a ridiculous campaign for the Ukraine, because that was their nest. That was Khazaria, right? Why do you think they're referred to as the Khazarian Mafia, right? Khazaria was once the Ukraine, okay? So that's exactly why they're trying to get their empire back on, basically trying to do all these funds for Ukraine. They don't care about helping the people there. They're too concerned about helping their bosses. They want to help the super wealthy. They basically want to try and rebuild Khazaria that represented the Ukraine, right? They are not after the people. And this has nothing to do with the common people of the Ukraine, right? That is innocence. But what it does have to do is with these particular criminals that were using the Ukrainian underground to create laboratories, to basically create abominable creations, such as hybrid creatures, They were also basically having child trafficking dens all over the Ukraine. They had drug cartels, every nasty thing that you can imagine the Ukraine has in its underground, right? So it is not a pleasant place by any means. On the surface, it may look wonderful, but underground, it was poison. It was terrible. And that was their stronghold. That's where the majority of this Khazarian mafia, this cabal, comes from the Ukraine, from Khazaria, right? So that's exactly what was being taken down. And now there's going to be major changes taking place. It's not going to have to lead to taking down further warfare. It is going to be taking down with the stroke of a pen. So that's really where civilization is starting to move into. It's going to be it's still going to be very intense. It's still going to be very challenging. There's still going to be a lot of intense events that are taking place, but it is moving forward for the better because this is going to help humanity heal. It's going to help humanity get a lot of their power back. It's not just going to come to the nature of money, but it's also going to come to the nature of the hearts, right? We're actually going to start being nice to each other. Isn't that a a who'da thunk it moment? Okay. We are actually going to be a lot more nicer and kinder to each other. We're actually going to start working together a lot more. Okay. Because what this whole situation has taught us is the nature of this divide that was happening, right? It's not just the idea of Republican and Democrat. It was the idea in that sense of people who are awake and people who are asleep. And that's basically what the whole divide is. Who's awake and who's asleep? Who's awake and who's asleep? So, like I said, this is the whole situation that is unfolding. Is like I'm not here to throw a bunch of positive, fluff to you guys. When I'm telling you that I see certain things, I go within and I look at it, and I'm not just saying, "Oh, guys, I'm not going to bother to look at that. It's going to be fine. It's just going to be positive. It's going to be rainbows and whiskers on kittens, and it'll be fine." I've never done that. When I look into these situations, I'm very serious about them. Someone tells me, Brad, go ahead and take a look at this situation. I really want to hear what you have to say. Sure. I'll go ahead and I'll tune right into it and I'll see exactly what I get. And what I get, guys, is that even though something seems bad on the surface, it's going to turn around. It can flip around. That's the whole downside of the downside. The downside is so completely impermanent and temporary that you have the power within yourself to flip it around, blow off the dust, and give it a good polish, and it will be clean. And we'll have the power to do that. This is why I say, please do not let these world situations, please do not let what's happening to you externally feel like you are completely disempowered and incapable of changing what is before you, because you can. Right? This is what I've taught people for many years to do, is look at what that thing is, put it in a ball, right? And then just clear it, clear it, clear it, clear it, clear it. Now your relationship to that has now become pristine. It's been brought into peace. You're no longer struggling, fighting, and clawing and biting your way to try to survive another day. You're putting up with the filth. Here's a broom and a dustpan and a mop where you're able to clean all this stuff up, but you don't. You wallow in the filth and thinking that's it, game over. And it's not. Anything that's filthy can be cleaned. That's the downside of the downside, right? It's not meant to last as long as it has you in a trance of fear and control, because fear is what puts you into that state of control. And you have to learn to get out of that fear. And I know that can seem challenging. The only reason it's seeming challenging is because you're living from here down, and you're not living here. And you have to live here. And this is exactly what I spent 16, 17 years of my life having to realize. I have to start living from up here. If I live down here, then I'm going to be amongst the filth and the mildew and the grime and the debris. And I'm going to feel like I'm in victim consciousness. I feel like I'm going to be in fear. I start going up in here. I start empowering this. I start working together in here. All of this illusion starts to fade away. The masters will always say, don't worry so much about the world because it's just an illusion anyways. And in many ways, that is correct, right? It certainly is an illusion. The problem is that so many of us empower the illusion. We empower the illusion with our fear. We empower the illusion with these very heavy emotional states. And it's a matter of being able to clean all that off, to wash it off, to polish it, because we can do that, right? Darkness cannot escape the polish, right? If something gets polished, darkness can't come upon it anymore. I wouldn't even really call it the darkness, but I would call it the filth and the grime, the debris. Darkness is not evil, right? Darkness just represents seclusion. It represents the unknown. It is the platform that is used to try to keep things hidden. But darkness by itself is not an evil thing, right? It's the corruption that utilizes the darkness to hide everything, right? But darkness is just as much of important as the light is. They're all about keeping balance with each other. It's very important for having both sides together. It's like how a lotus flower blossoms. It needs the mud and the dirt within the soil to grow into something completely and totally beautiful so that it can come into the light. Well, that's the same thing with us. We have to learn from our mistakes. We have to learn where we've slipped up. So now we can take out the cloth and we can start giving something a good polish. So please keep that in mind, everybody. This is what I'm telling everybody here. I'm saying that, I'm not trying to give you guys a bunch of positive fluff. I am honestly looking into these things. And I've had so many people just thinking, okay, Kamala's going to get it, or Kamala's going to get it, a woman's going to get it. And I said, sorry, it's not. They're not. So, how do you know? How do you know? I said, I go in here. I go in here, I start talking to spirit, I start listening. I said, no, it is very, very likely that Trump is going to get in again. And this is going to lead into a very powerful time of cleanup. Exactly what I've been saying, right? So it's like I've been telling you guys, I keep looking at these things much more deeply from the heart, and we see it unfold. That's what happens when you work with spirit, right? I'm not looking at some physical contact over here. I'm not calling somebody up on the phone. Hey, yeah, what's going on? That's unreliable. That's unreliable sources. You don't know if that person's BSing you. You don't know if that person's throwing you for a loop, right? That's not a source. There's only one source, and it's here. And those who tune into it are going to get the most prestigious and beautiful and wonderful information to help others to look at these things from a much more wider perspective. It's about working with the right brain. It's about seeing things of the bigger picture and then getting an idea of saying, okay, this is actually what's taking place. So let's remember that, everybody, and tell people that who are just constantly throwing doom and gloom at you. Because, like I said, I've had people so distraught that come to me and say, Brad, this is horrible. Everybody's just saying that we're going to fall apart. The human race is finished. I said, we're not finished. We're not falling apart. This is all part of immense turnaround, of immense change that you are witnessing. Lo and behold, here it is. Right? I'm not going to be the boasting guy and say, guys, I told you so. But, well, there it is. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and go into comments. So we do have some personal sessions, or personal questions first. So I'm going to start off with the donation-based ones, and then we'll be getting into the others afterwards. Okay, I have one here from Sean. Sean says, hi, Brad, please explain that after months of living simply with reduced distractions, that meditation experience is emptiness and libido is zero. Nothing is empty, right? The nothingness pertaining to meditation is not nothingness. It is everythingness, right? So please explain that after months of living simply with reduced distractions, that meditation experience is emptiness and libido is zero. Well, again, that's just one person's perspective. If your libido is zero, then basically there's fear involved. If you see nothing in regarding to meditation, then that's looking at the shallowness pertaining to meditation. I think maybe you need to start moving up to here, right? Looking up into here and seeing exactly that meditation is not showing you emptiness. That's what you see on the surface. When you truly go into the depths of yourself, you truly go into the depths of your soul, you see everything. This is why I'm telling people to go into the right side of the brain. Go into the right hemisphere of the brain. You will not see emptiness. You will see everything. You will see everything interconnected. You will see the presence of all things that live. You will see the presence of the one, right? As far as your libido is concerned, well, I can't really help you with that. But the whole idea is that you need to move yourself up here, right? You start reinvigorating yourself and realize how everything is interconnected. And perhaps that will help with your libido. I'm not too sure what you're trying to ask here altogether, but that's what I can share, is that, no offense, guys, and I mean this with the most respect. About 90% of the people on this planet don't do meditation properly. Okay? They don't. They are completely oblivious to it. And when we're looking at the nature of true meditation, I've done a video on this. It all has to do with burning something up. It's to burn up, right? What are you burning up in meditation? Are you burning anything up? Or are we just listening to some nice little music and just trying to get in a good vibe? That's not meditation. Okay? That's a relaxation exercise. When you're looking at true meditation, you are going in to burn up everything that represents illusion so that all that remains is yourself. That's it. That's dhyana. That's the idea of being able to move yourself into single-pointed focus, that when you are there, everything else that represents the outside world starts to cave in and starts to implode. And all that remains is that single-pointed focus, that absorption that comes in and leads you into samadhi. Right? Hardly anybody does that. Hardly anybody actually meditates properly. It's not about taking out your favorite little relaxation soundtrack and just trying to get peaceful. You're not meditating at all. There's no meditation involved with that. That is not meditation, right? Meditation is to burn up. What are you burning up? What are you setting fire to? Are you setting fire to your illusions? Are you setting fire to everything that troubles you? Are you setting fire to everything that hinders you? Because if you are, then you're doing true meditation. Then you're doing dhyana, right? And this is what I'm talking about, is that when you work together with a single pointed focus and you're working your way up and you're going into the right hemisphere of the brain, you see everything as it is, because everything that pertains to the distractions and the obstructions and the hurdles are now completely engulfed in flames. And now you see the truth, right? It's coming into the right brain, okay? So if you're only seeing emptiness, Sean, you're not going anywhere in regards to the fullness pertaining to what meditation actually represents. And that is the ability to burn up all distractions. If you are coming at meditation with fear, if you are coming at meditation where you feel that you are barren in regards to your own heart, well, that all needs to be burned up, because that's the veil that's been put over your eyes. So burn it up, right? Concentrate your mind. Focus your mind on a single point. Start Om chanting. Start following your breath. Om chant, follow your breath, work your way up. Start working with the chakras. Om chant directly into every chakra, knowing exactly where they are in the body. If you do not know where the chakras are in the body, assign the problem that is associated with the chakra itself, put it in a ball, see it for what it is, Om chant into it. Clear it out, 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 clear it out. Gone. Right? And now you're starting to open up the chakras. I have gone into the right hemisphere of the brain, guys. I can go there spontaneously now, into the right hemisphere of the brain. And the last thing it is empty, right? The last thing my libido is empty or zero, okay? So like I said, I think, Sean, you need to talk a little bit more about this with me, right? If you want to do a session with me, that's your choice. But we need to talk a little bit more about this, because I think your question's a bit vague here. But that's really the whole idea. Meditation experience is to burn up. What are you burning up? That's the question. All right. Thanks for your question. Okay. Now, Samara, you basically have two questions here. Okay. I should probably just say, guys, just please just have one question for donation-based personal readings. Okay. So let me go ahead and take a look at, we'll take a look at your 3 to 6 months. Okay. You're talking about forming a relationship with a girl named Veronica. Okay. The thing is, guys, if you're so uncertain about forming a relationship with somebody and you need to ask a psychic, your heart's not in the right place. Okay, and that's the first thing that you need to look at. Your heart is very skewed and you're not listening to your heart. Okay, so keep that in mind. So for Samara, with Veronica here. Samara, you got some cleaning up to do first. Okay, I wouldn't be so quick to jump into a relationship and all that. I think you need to spend more time with the relationship of yourself. Maybe give yourself time for this relationship to grow, because the next 3 to 6 months for you involves a lot of cleaning up. You need to start burning up these illusions. I think that you're basically being caught up in the web of all these things. We're so certain that life is all about survival. and it needs to be about living, right? I'm just feeling you battling all of these ideas from other people. I feel like you are just feeding so much off the external that you don't even know what you want. And you need to give yourself time to go within, to come into your heart and say, this is who I am. This is what I want. And just like I was talking about with meditation, we need to burn up the illusions, right? I think you need to take these next 3 to 6 months to heal. I think that there's been a lot of pain that has followed you over these past several years that you need to make amends with. I think in regards to relationships, there needs to be some sowing of the heart to bring it back into a state of calmness and peace and harmony again, and spending more time in here before you just jump back into another relationship. Okay, so take this time, maybe just let the whole situation with the girl start to grow over time. Don't just jump in like it's just a swimming pool. Okay, if you are basically jumping in with a relationship, because I used to do that too, and it's an empty path, it's hollow, it leads to nothing. Okay, it is all about the idea of filling yourself with that goodness, filling yourself with that love, filling yourself with that joy. And when you get involved in a relationship, the love that is there is a top-down relationship. If you are going into a relationship that's bottom up, it's going to fail. I can pretty much guarantee you that. It is the idea of being able to start with the top down. What do I mean by the top down? Start with the heart. Start with the heart of yourself. See the heart of your partner. And only see their heart, right? Even if there's sexuality involved, you're making love to their heart. You're not making love to their private parts, okay? This is what we call the higher relationship. This is what we call divine union. So that is what I would suggest. And you have to do that through firstly yourself. You have to be completely in touch with here. If you're living down here, all of this needs to be burned up so that you can start living in here. Okay, so Samara, that's kind of the answer to both of your questions. Take the 3 to 6 months to clean yourself out completely. You have relied so much on external opinion, you don't even know what your truth is, and that needs to change. Burn it up so that you can listen to yourself, you can listen to your intuition, you can listen to your heart, and it can guide you. Not saying that there can't be a relationship opportunity with this girl that you're working with or acquainted with, but you need to give more time to yourself to let those situations heal and come into life with a new perspective rather than relying on so much external opinions that don't matter. Okay, that's what I can share with you. Thank you, Samar. All right, let's go to Mita. Mita says, baby boy born. That's a bit of a tongue twister there. Baby boy born any minute now. Heart defect, transposition, great arteries, surgery within 48 hours to correct. What do we need to know to help us? Okay, well, I'm just trying to digest what you're sharing here. Heart defect, transposition, great arteries, surgery within 48 hours to correct. I don't know if you're referring to yourself. I guess you're referring to yourself. For a heart defect, transportation, great arteries. So really what I would suggest, Mina, is just doing a very simple breathing technique that can help with your heart, that can help with your arteries, okay? Breathe in the white light through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when you're breathing out, just do it through the mouth, it's fine. Breathe out the black smoke. Any particular tar, any particular type of debris, any particular type of virus, pathogen, bad bacteria, anything of that nature. Whatever is causing the obstruction of the heart, breathe it out. Just take out the just breathe out the black smoke, right? This is what I get people to help them actually recharge their bodies. Saying, Brad, I've had a joint pain, I've had problems with my heart, I've had problems with my lungs, I've had problems with my chest, with my abdomen, etc. Then I want you just to zero in on where the problem is. Just breathe in white light. That's all I want you to do. Breathe in the white light. And then holding it just for a moment, and then breathing out the black smoke. And just purging out all of that debris that's contained in that area. And I want you doing that about 50 times, okay? So if you're doing that about 50 times, even though it takes quite a few minutes, it's worth it, okay? You're purging out all of that debris. You're working with your body. Your body is helping you clear that out. Your vitality is helping you to clear it out. Spirit is helping you to clear it out. It's such a simple technique, but it works for everybody, okay? So Mita, that is what I suggest. Deep breath in. Breathe in the white light. Hold it just for a moment. Out through the mouth. Let out all that black smoke. Okay? Whatever's happening in the arteries, whatever's happening in the heart, doesn't matter if it's a defect or anything, that's what doctors call it. Who gives a crap, right? The whole idea, yes, there's challenges in the heart, but we can clear that out. We have the power to change. We have the power to make that heart healthy. So start off with that simple breath. I just want to give you something simple. I don't want you doing a whole bunch of different techniques. If you're talking about something with surgery, right, keep it simple. Let's just do something with the breath. In through the nose, 5 seconds, white light. Hold it just for a moment. Breathe out the black smoke. If you're in a surgery bed, if you're in the hospital, you have lots of time on your hands. Focus on that. Do 50 to 100. Clear it out, right? As soon as you're breathing out that black smoke, that's all the filth, that's all the debris, that's all of the problems that represent the heart, and it's being cleared out, right? Tell Spirit to be with you, right? Divine Mother, be with me as I breathe in the light. Be with me, pulling out all of that debris as I exhale out that black smoke, okay? And it works. Lord knows I've done that many times when I've had sores, when I've had aches, when I've had problems, when I've had cramps. I do that white breath, right? You're doing the white breath technique. Just something very simple. Doesn't involve any systematic process that's complicated. Keep working with that. Okay? Mita, thank you very much. Blessings to you. I know you're going to get through it all. Okay, take care. Let's move on to David here. David says, hi, Brad. Question for Adronis. It is said that Jesus Christ is at the right Son of God at all times. Is he there, or Christ consciousness, which is the higher self? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question, David. Now, firstly, you have to understand that when you are looking at the Bible, you are looking at allegory. You are looking at example. You are looking at metaphor. You are looking at image. Jesus Christ is you. You are the Christ. You are the sun that is rising. You are the sun that is setting. The sun would actually pertain much more to S-U-N rather than S-O-N. You see, that's a play on words, and that's part of the metaphor. The idea of the sun rising. Well, again, the sun rises every single morning, and then as it gets closer to the evening, it starts to set. But when you're looking at the nature of the Christ, do you know what the Christ means? It's an oil. It's that which is rising within yourself. It is a cerebrospinal fluid function. It generates itself through the colostrum of the brain, and it starts moving and descending itself down when your own sign of the sun starts to move down. And through the rising of the sun, the Christ oil moves up, anointing you and expanding you. The entire tale of Jesus Christ in the Bible is a tale. It is a story. Now, this person did actually exist, yes, but again, his life was utilized in the form of telling a story because it's talking about the nature of how you, yes, you, are able to connect in harmony with God as the Christ. The Christ is you. It is not a person. It's you. This is exactly what the story in the Bible tells. Why do you think so many biblical scholars will often refer to what they share about Jesus Christ as the greatest story ever told? They did not say it is the greatest historical fact ever discovered. They said it was the greatest story ever told because it's a story. It's a story that's helping you to understand how to raise yourself up to God by going into the right brain. That's what this is about. Jesus isn't even really a person. His real name is Yeshua, not Jesus. Jesus is a Greek name. That is not his name. His name is Yeshua. That's who this entire story was based upon, an actual rabbi who actually was able to know the ancient truths. And so many people were inspired by his life that they made this story based after him. Again, another great master that came upon your planet. For he would talk about the nature of the Christ. And again, this was brought into the fold of making it into a parable, an allegory. So, looking into the hints of what the Bible is attempting to teach you, it is not to be taken literally, because the majority of the characters in the Bible are fictional. They are not real people. There was no Moses, there was no Abraham, there was no King David, there was no King Solomon, there was no Jesus, but a Yeshua. So you're basically looking at fantasy. You're looking at fiction. There was no Adam and Eve. Adam would represent the idea of atom, A-T-O-M. Not the idea of Adam. That again is a play on words. Eve representing the nature of emotions, the nature of spirit. There was no Eve. There was no Adam. These are allegories. They are telling you about the nature of how humanity itself is created by looking at the splitting of the atom, therefore taking out one of Adam's ribs, splitting the atom. You see? All of these represent the idea of allegories, of metaphors, of images that are helping you to understand more of your own origins, about all of these chemical processes that are taking place within your brain. When Moses lifts up the bronze serpent, he's not actually lifting up a staff, he's raising his kundalini. That's what this is attempting to tell you. You're looking at all of these different allegories. When there was the great flood, do you literally think that there was a man who built a rectangular cubic ark and collected every single animal on the planet 2 by 2? No. That is an allegory. It is not fact. When you're looking at all of these different stories, they are teaching you about yourself, about what you need to do to move up into the upper room, go into the center, into the room of the right. There's the right brain. That's where you commune with God. When you look at everything about naming a town called Pineal, do you actually think that it's relating to an external town named Pineal? It's referring to the pineal gland. I saw the face of God, and I will call it Pineal. What do you think they're talking about? This is not literal. This is metaphor. The entire Bible is metaphor. All Abrahamic religions are metaphor-based. None of them are real. So therefore, you're looking at these fictional characters to therefore incite a point, representing the idea of how you are uplifting yourself. This is not about the higher self. This is between you and God. That's really what this comes down to. The higher self is the medium, the bridge, the link in between the two, yourself and God. The higher self has importance, but that is not what the Bible refers to. In fact, the Bible doesn't really talk about the higher self at all. It's talking more about the processes of what you are going through and moving yourself in regards to that divine union with God. That's what it entails. That's the nature of the Bible. That's the nature of all Abrahamic religions, not to be taken literally, because that is exactly what your priests and your bishops and your archbishops and all of these wars that have been happening upon your planet for centuries have attempted to do, and look what's come of it. My God is better than your God, so let's fight about it. And you're fighting over something that was written in the sake of helping to expand mankind, to bring you closer to the divine union between you and God. And that has been taken completely out of proportions. It has been perverted. It has led to warfare. It has led to millions of people dying over something that the Bible itself never intended. It was an instruction manual to help you commune with God, to come into the right side of the brain, to work through all of these inner processes, to clear away all the quote unquote demons that represent the archaic ego, that represents everything that is carnality, to clear all of that away. That's what the demons and the devil and Satan represents. It all represents ego. It all represents carnality. It's not an actual person. There is no actual person called the devil. There is no actual person called Satan. These, once again, represent carnalities. These are ego attributes that are outlined and depicted in the Bible about how you are able to get past them. As Jesus the Christ would say in the Bible, take no thought. Not just don't concern about this or don't worry about that. It's not what he says. It really comes down to the idea of saying, take no thought, which means no thought exists pertaining to you fueling the ego, fueling carnality. So again, you need to have a much more of a larger look at the book and seeing it how a mystic writes the Bible, because this is not literary documentation. This is allegory, metaphor, imagery, helping you to look at from the alchemists and the mystics' perspective to commune with God. It is a book written in code and has been since its inception. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay, David, so there you have it. Okay. I was going to say something, but I'll let Adronis come in and share with it. Yes, everybody, okay? When you're looking at the Bible, you are looking at allegory, you are looking at story, you are looking at metaphor, right? You are looking at basically fictional characters. Like I said, there really was a Jesus, but he was referred to as Yeshua. And through the inspiration of his life, he was written about in that way because they would borrow a lot of stories from other cultures. They would borrow it from Osiris and Isis, right? It's about the same type of story. They just put him into the mix, giving their own flavor, their own spin of the tale, of the story. Okay, so this is what I mean. And then basically I would say that the churches of this planet have perverted the hearts of so many people, thinking that this needs to be taken literally. My God, I was 4 or 5 years old when I looked at the Bible and saying, this is a story. There's no way that this is real. Okay, a snake is in the middle of the garden telling both Adam and Eve that they're naked. Come on, really? A guy was swallowed by a whale and then pooped out 3 days afterwards and he became an evangelist. Cain and Abel fighting with each other, wondering what they're going to do about the people of the world. I thought they were the only two that were there because they're the progeny of Adam and Eve. Why are there other people on the planet all of a sudden? I knew that, guys, when I was 5, looking at the Bible. This is a story. These are stories. This is no more different than me just curling up by the fire and telling somebody a fairy tale, right? It's an important fairy tale because it's telling us about the nature of how we commune with God, but it represents the nature of stories, right? If I tell you, let's go spill the beans, does that mean I expect you guys to come over and grab a big can of beans with a can opener and start pouring it over my carpet? Because that's exactly what you're doing when you're taking the Bible literally, right? If I basically say, oh, that guy's in hot water right now, am I going to go ahead and get a big cauldron, fill it with boiling water, and grab a person, strip him of his clothes, and toss him inside the cauldron? This is what I'm talking about. And that is the language of the ancient ages, of how they describe things, about how the code was written back at that time. And it goes right over our heads because we have missed this. We have forgotten the Rosetta Stone that helps us to understand that, and that comes right here. And that's what you have to learn. This is why I say there's initiated teachings and there is uninitiated teachings. And the majority of people on the planet who go to church every single Sunday are completely uninitiated and don't even know what the Bible's talking about. It is a wonderful book. It is something that is extremely powerful. It is something that really can liberate you if you know how to read it. But if you don't, you will be lost, you will be confused, and you will be completely together in control of those who want to control you through it. It's dangerous. It's been weaponized. The entire Bible has been weaponized for thousands of years. It's their greatest weapon. And now the Bible may not be so big. So now it's going to be television. Now it's going to be the internet. Now it's going to be everything in here that represents weaponization, right? All of these things have been looked at through the corrupt just for one reason. How can we weaponize it? Because we've weaponized the Bible for centuries. It was our greatest weapon. We could kill so many people weaponizing the Bible, right? Because people didn't understand it. A lot of these high clerics knew exactly what it was about, but they didn't care. They kept the secret from you. And they would wage war and they would kill millions and millions of people, innocent men, women, and children, all for the sake of the Bible as their weapon. That was their sword. It's brutal, right? But I'm sure we'll get into that in another time. Anyways, let's go ahead and move down the list here. Okay, this is just a follow-up from Mita. Mita says, my nephew's boy in USA. I'm in South Africa. Other in for C-section now. Or sort of wrong side, no oxygenation of blood pumped in body, asking about the baby. Okay, you're asking about the baby. Okay, that makes more sense. So thank you, Mita, for following up with that, because it sounded like you were going through some trouble, that you were going through some open heart surgery and all of that. Okay, so let me just look into oxygenation of blood pumped to body, asking about the baby. Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, well, the baby is going to pull through, but he or she may have some difficulties in coming through. Okay, so this is where we need to work with a lot of healing energy into the baby as well too. If I can get the baby's name, maybe Mita, you can do this offline with me. Just go to my email, okay, bradjohnson79@gmail.com. Maybe just let me know more about the mother. That way I know exactly who I'm sending energy to, okay? And just email me offline. Tell me more about this whole situation. If you can give me a little bit more details, that'd be great. And then I'm happy to do some healing work for both the mother and the child, okay? The news I'm getting is that the baby's going to pull through, but there's going to be some complications, okay? So please contact me, email me, let me know more about what's actually going on, the mother's name, and I can lock on to her and I can do some energy work on her, okay? That would be appreciated. Thank you very much, Mina. Okay. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. Hide. Okay, let's go to this donation question. This one here is from Sarita. Sarita says, thinking of opening up a bakery 20 minutes from where I live here in upstate New York. Do you see me or my business thriving in this location? Okay, so Sarita, opening up a bakery 20 minutes from where you live in upstate New York. Let's take a look. Yeah, I feel like you're going to meet some really interesting people when you're going into that location. I think a lot of people are going to love what you offer. I wouldn't say it's going to be a major thriving success right away. I think it's still going to take a little bit of time. Okay. But I think you're going to get on the right track. I think you're going to have some really interesting customers. I think it's going to be a very joyful experience for you. Like I said, I don't think it's going to take off right from the get-go, but I think it's going to build and it's going to grow. Okay. So if you have patience and you allow it to grow, then I think that bakery can be a really great success for you. Okay, but give it time to grow, give it time to nurture, give it time for it to expand into the community. Right, really make it community based as well too. Maybe offer some things for the community through the bakery as well too. Right, do those wonderful good deeds, and it will certainly get you moved into a great connection with others who are also of that loving energy. Right, so yes, I think it's going to do well, but with time, let it grow, give it time to expand. Okay, it's like bread, put it in the oven, give it time to grow, give it time to expand. Okay, same thing with your bakery. All right, thank you very much, Serena. Okay, let's go to Gordon. Gordon says, fluid builds in my face like a bulldog. It looks unhealthy and deformed and won't leave no matter what I do. It's generic from my mom's suggestions. That tells me that looks like lymphatic problems. Okay, so what I would suggest is that you work with Radiate. Okay, RAYD8. If you have this as well too, This is the new manifestation wheel. Okay, so when you actually have this, you're working together with the spleen and the lymphatic system. I would also suggest that you're working with the endocrine system at the same time. So to me, it feels like if you're getting a lot of swelling and fluid in your face, number one, there's an issue with your lymphatic system. Number two, there's an issue with your liver. Okay, so basically using Radiate, using any of the etherics products, my friend, will definitely help you out. Use the healing code cards. Okay, if you have the etheric, there they are right behind me, right here. Okay, body deck, mind deck, energy deck. Okay, if you have any of those on hand, grab Radiate, download Radiate from the Apple Store, from Google Play. Okay, use the free version, talk to the app, saying, help me to clear out a lot of the fluids that are building up in my face, and that is lymphatic issues, and that is liver issues. Okay, and it may also be some endocrine issues at the same time. So again, fluid buildup is happening because something is not right in regards to the lymphatic system. Again, I'm not trying to be a doctor here or anything like that. I'm just looking at it from the healer's perspective. Okay, you said it's genetic from my mom. Okay, so like I said, you don't really have inherited diseases. You have basically sympathetic resonance, right? That comes from stressful situations as well too. So again, if there's a lot of stress coming into your life, there's a lot of tension in your life, if it's connected to the lymphatic system, I would say look how you're feeling in the solar plexus. Look how you're feeling in the heart. Look also how you're feeling in the root and in the spine at the same time. Have you been going through fights pertaining to surviving another day? Have there been a lot of problems regarding people in the family, right? Pressuring you, a lot of pressure buildup, okay? There's things that relate to pressure. How is your foundation, right? Your foundation to live, your foundation to survive. How is your money situation? How is your living situation? All these things need to be looked at because all of these things, when we're looking at fluidic buildup, these are often chronic conditions. Chronic conditions are caused by traumas. When we start getting the traumas out of the body now starts to reassert itself, heal itself. And a lot of these particular facial situations pertaining to puffiness start to fade away. Okay, but that's basically telling me that there's a lot of lymphatic problems and lung problems. Okay, or so not lung, liver problems. But also we need to look into the traumas behind the scenes. Okay, so I'm currently working on the trauma transcendence technique, a free e-course that should be ready here in the next couple of weeks. I'm also writing a book on this at the same time. That's going to help a lot of people, especially if this is a chronic condition. Like I said, if you've inherited from your mom, it's not because of a physical inheritance. It's because there's a sympathetic resonance pertaining to her emotional state that has stuck on you. And that's what needs to be cleared out. We need to look at the situations pertaining to the mother, situations pertaining to the lower areas of ourselves, and start clearing it out, right? So again, when we're looking at the trauma transcendence technique, we look into three different things. We look, number one, into emotions, into traumas, into reactions, okay? So the first thing, we need to look at our emotional situations pertaining to the mother. Go back into your younger years. Go back to 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21. Look at those times in regards to your mother. Was there anything, something tragic that was either happening to her or something between you and her that was basically cascading heavily and building up and basically seeding traumas within yourself? That is what we need to look at. We need to look at the emotions. We need to look at the traumas. We need to look at the reactions, right? But basically, when we're starting off, we just start looking at the emotions and the traumas, right? So did this make you feel angry, sad, fearful? Those are the three emotional cores, the core emotions that we look in trauma transcendence technique. What is the core emotional issues? I felt angry with my mom. I felt sad with my mom. I felt fearful with my mom because this happened. And then we look into the traumas: abandonment, rejection, abuse, escape. Okay. Was any of those things a factor? We need to clear that out. Okay. It may seem like we're just working with the emotional, mental bodies. Well, we're seeing how that's translating to the physical, right? And the physical, if the physical is all messed up, it's because our subtle bodies are messed up, particularly when we're looking at chronic conditions. Okay. So Gordon, that's what you need to do. You need to look at that. If you need to talk to me more about that, drop me an email, right? But really what we need to do is just start clearing up the body, work with Radiate, work with the healing code cards, work with the brand new manifestation wheel, okay? All of that will help you. But most importantly, we need to look into the traumas, okay? So if it's unhealthy and deformed, that's telling me you're holding on to a lot of pain going back into your younger years, and it needs to be dealt with. Okay, so please contact me if you need to. I'll be happy to talk to you more about it. Blessings to you, and thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to go into some of the other questions. I believe that's all of the questions I got. Okay, I got one here from Avatar Svati, but I don't think I've gotten a question from Avatar Svati. So please make sure, guys, if you can, to put your questions on the chat or on your donation. Otherwise, I have to kind of scour the chat to see if you asked a question. So let me just take a moment here to see if Avatar Svati asked a question here on the chat. Okay. We got a lot of questioners today. That's great. Okay, here we go. So here's, I believe this is Avatar's Svati's question. Dear Adronis, how strongly does the conjunction of Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto in Aquarius in November affect Earth? Prediction that there will be a huge climate change. Okay, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, in November. One moment. We thank you very much, Avatar Svati, for your question. When you're looking at the astrological alignment of Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, well, this is representing, as you would say, hidden truths. This also represents the idea of what much has been hidden and basically, shall we say, rumbling and shaking the entire landscape to ensure that all of that information that has been hidden will be brought forward and therefore shared and exposed. So again, as you may say, with the idea of the shaking up from the nature of Pluto, and through, in that sense, the stagnancy of Saturn and the expansion of Jupiter, when we bring all that together, Saturn also holds the nature of secrets. So we're seeing a shakeup. We're seeing a shakeup of the land. So if we're looking into the nature about how it is affecting the Earth, expect large amounts of information to be brought into public awareness. You may also start to see again that there may be storms, there may be geomagnetic activity, earthquakes in that particular way that also may continue to happen. If we're looking in the idea of Jupiter and Saturn coming together and bringing that expansion to what has been hidden, you're going to see again those who you felt had a great deal of secrecy have their, as you would say, beans spilt to the floor. So you're going to see again a lot more cleanup, as we have talked about, coming into not just the time of November or December, but moving into the 2025 year. So this is opening a lot of old vaults that have been sealed. And it is going to make a very loud noise because you're looking at expansion. Jupiter expands everything. Saturn may hold and keep things secret, but now it's being broken up. Pluto is shaking the landscape. It's rupturing everything. It's breaking everything down. So the secrets are about to be revealed. Not right away, but that is, again, the triggering elements representing these particular planets connecting in Aquarius, because Aquarius is about truth finding. It is about truth detecting. It is about exposure. So more of that will be coming within the months to follow. At the end of 2024, coming into 2025, large exposure is coming, as we were discussing earlier. All right, we thank you for your question. Okay, great. Thank you, Avatar Swati, for your question. Okay, let's go back up now. Let me see here. I'm going to go back up to the top of the chat. Thank you again, all donors. I think I got everybody. All right, let me see here. I get, okay. Okay, this one here is from Mary. Mary says, hi, Brad. Is it going to take years before we see the end of the UK fake royals go down? No. You see and it's a good thing that you said the fake royals, because that's exactly who's there. That's exactly what you're seeing. You're seeing avatars. You're seeing doubles. You're seeing doppelgangers. You're not seeing the real royal family. They basically have a role that they have to play. And like I said, when you take down the real people, then what the cabal does is they just hire actors and they put doppelgangers in their place, because they still want to try and maintain that particular part of an empire. And that is going to fall as well, too. There's massive exposures that are going to happen. Again, as Adronis has talked about, 2025, 2029, right? Those are the hot times. This is the major cleanup that's taking place. Is it going to take years? I don't think so. I think we'll probably take maybe about a year or two, but I don't think I'll see it happening for many, many years. No, I don't see them continuing that way. Like I said, everything that is artificial on the earth is going to be torn down, right? So royals, everything that, and the thing is with a lot of these royal families is a lot of them are basically the biggest drug dealers and launderers and traffickers that the world has ever seen. So a lot of them are going to, like I said, have already been taken down, but they're just keeping a play going. And like I said, when we're moving from 2025 onwards, it's the end of that play. So you're going to see a lot of things getting taken down, I would say within the next year or two. Okay. So no, I don't think it's going to be like a merry-go-round going round and round. It is going to halt, right? And there's going to be a lot of things that are happening. There are so many things that I'm getting right now that are going to be exposed that are just going to throw people for a loop, right? Never thinking that that would happen. Okay. And the royals basically going down and watching them dissolve, the Vatican falling apart and going down. These are things of which you can expect, right? A lot of things pertaining to royal families, to the Vatican, to all these sustained empires that have been keeping the despicable demonic order in place are going to rupture and fall apart. And we're going to see that as we get into the late 2020s. But like I said, I don't think we have too long to wait for that. Thank you for your question. Okay. Okay, so Dieter says, can you do a reading for me for the timeline of my marriage and of my financial success? You said you donated some funds, but it won't show up on the chat. Okay, the timeline of your marriage and the financial success, Dieter, that's too big of a question, right? And like I said, it's because it's going to take me quite some time to look at all of that stuff. Okay, let's try and keep it a little bit lighter here. So I will take a look at your timeline, okay, just in regards to how marriage and finances will be for you. Like I said, if you try to donate for me but it didn't come through, it's okay. I'll accept it this time, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look. So Dieter, I think that there needs to be, again, a lot more cleaning up with you as well too, okay? So I think that there is some things that you can massively improve with your marriage. And I think that the whole idea is, I think you're trying to force something to come together to be a success when I feel like there's an arrow that's trying to point you to something else, okay? So I kind of get the feeling that you want to be financially successful, of course, marriage successful, of course, but like I said, it feels like there's some speed bumps in the way. And I want to take a look at the tarot a little bit more with this on you, because I'm getting the idea of speed bumps and turbulence in the way with both of those factors. Okay, so let me just take a look a moment at the tarot. Yeah, and the tarot is basically confirming what I'm getting here. Okay. So I feel like good things will be ahead of you if you're trying to tune in. I would say if you're really tuning into where the kind of spirit compass is trying to point you, okay? Because right now, it just feels like you're just fighting with everything. It's like you're fighting with everyone, you're fighting with everything right now, and you're just holding so much resistance back, wanting things to be successful, but you're not listening. You're not listening to your heart. You're not listening to what life is trying to tell you. You're not listening to your partner. You're not listening to the people closer to you. You just have this fixation of trying to move over here when the arrow is trying to point you to go the opposite direction. Okay. So you're basically just coming into a lot of this confusing time of illusions, of confusion, and you're not getting the message. You need to take some time out, right? You need to sit down and you need to start listening, and you need to clear your slate, and just start listening, right? Spirit is trying to bring you into a new direction, something that can be a lot more abundant for you on many different levels, marriage, and of course, finances. And I feel that at some point, the good news is I feel you may get the message, but right now you're not getting the message, okay? So you need to start bringing peace to catastrophic situations right now. You are focused way too much on things that have nothing to do with you, and you're trying to let the ego run its course here. And basically, that's like having a man with a blindfold over his face keep walking over when he's hearing all of this chatter in the background. Say, "Will you move? You're about to fall off a cliff." Right? Take the blindfold off and realize where you're walking, because you're about to fall off a cliff. Okay, so you need to make some changes here. Okay, so this is where you need to take the time out. Oh my God, that's like the tarot is saying exactly what I just told you. Okay, you need to take some time out. You need to reflect on a lot of these things. Okay, your marriage can be wonderful if you start listening a little bit more, because again, you just have your mind made up about these things, and I don't think you really take other people's perspectives, particularly those who are very close to you, seriously. Right? You think you know what's best, and other people are trying to tell you something different. You're not listening. Okay. The good news, I feel, you're going to take a lot of these things to heart, and you are going to start cleaning everything up. Okay. But you need to follow your compass, your spirit compass, because I feel like you're just ready to just walk off a cliff. Okay. Take the blindfold off, sit with it for a bit, and start looking into where you're really being guided, because I think that there may be a new change in career. I think there's things that you can do to make marriage even more wonderful. Okay. And that is the ability to listen. All right. That's what I have for you, Dieter. Okay. So hopefully that helps you. Blessings to you and thank you. Okay. Okay. Let's go further down. Okay. This one here is from Julie. Julie says, how long before they release the money in gold that was taken from, not talking, but taken from the Vatican to the people? Okay, let's take a look at that. I get the feeling maybe 2026, 2027, somewhere around there. Okay, that's just an estimation. Everything's shifting all the time, but that's kind of the feeling. It's going to take a couple of years for everything to be like the Vatican is basically going to implode. I mean, you have vaults of all. I mean, I can't even begin to explain to you how much stuff is kept in secret vaults in the Vatican, right? And not to mention all the books and records and everything. That it's vast, right? And you're going to need to take at least a couple of years just to look into everything that's there. A lot of things that have been pillaged, a lot of things that have been stolen, a lot of things that have been taken from these places from all over the world that have been held and cherished, right? And basically just utilizing all these things as collateral. It's disgusting. And Vatican is basically probably the biggest bank on the entire planet. And they have just vaults and you could say almost acres of stuff. So it's going to take a couple of years to basically get a lot of that stuff out of the Vatican because it's so vast. But could call it the Vastican in that way. There's so much stuff that needs to be revealed and taken out, but it is going to happen. Okay, guys, you can't expect this to happen right away. Takedowns, yes, but the results of after the takedown to investigate and to look at all these things at human speed is going to take some time. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe 2026, 2027. But like I said, that's just a rough number right now because so many things are shifting. But it is going to happen. That's the good news. It's just a matter of time and manpower to go through all these things to find out what's going on. So the Vatican has many thousands of things just locked away in crates and storage and reserves, and it's insane. So it's going to take a very long time to get all that stuff in order and to take a lot of the value of a lot of things that have been stolen from different countries over the centuries to be revealed. I mean, we have so much stuff to be revealed. It's insane, but it will take time. Okay. Thank you, Julie, for your question. Okay. Hi, Lena. Well, again, I have given people permission to do personal readings with me. Okay, if you're donating, then that's your right. You have more than a right to donate and ask a personal question with me. So I decided to make that happen because there have been a lot of requests for that. So I said it's okay. But right now, we're going on to semi-personal and general questions. Okay, so hang in there. Happiness Man, I love the name. Hello, Brad. Are you feeling happy and optimistic from now until the inauguration? I think I know what you're trying to say. Like, are they going to try and do some shenanigans? Oh, probably. Are they going to try and pull some things and do that between election day and inauguration day? Are they going to try and pull some things? Most definitely they're going to try and pull some things. Are they going to succeed? I doubt it, right? Is there going to be, the inauguration day? Yes, I've already talked about that. I don't feel anything in regards to that not happening. I know I've had some people who say there's going to be some interference. I don't think so. No, there's so much spirit around Trump right now that it is insane to even try to mention what is there. He is under so much protection. He is under so much, I would say, protection on a physical and spiritual level as well too. He can't be touched, right? He's really at that point. It's exactly why such an assassination failed with him. He can't be touched, right? He is basically being held in such a light. There are millions of people over the world blessing him every single day. This man is his defenses are so large you can't get through it, right? He just has a very large presence that is watching over him physically and spiritually, right? So you can't touch him really. You can probably touch the people that he loves and all that, but that's not going to get him to step down or anything of that nature. My guess is they tried that in the past and that didn't work. So, like I said, that these people are not just going to be free to kind of wander around and try placing some shenanigans. Now that Trump is basically the president-elect, they have bullseyes on their head. You know what they're going to be spending their time doing? They're going to be spending their time running, because now they know the jig is up, they're finished, and now you're probably going to see maybe a breathtaking amount of resignations that may be taking place, right? People trying to bail. We may need to watch for that. That they realize the jig is up. And it's funny too, because I think it was Benjamin Fulford this morning was saying that Bette Midler was saying on X that, well, the Democrats might as well just be drinking some type of poison right now to get it over with, right? Because they're finished. That's true. That basically is true. They are going to be hunted down. If anything, what they're going to be doing right now is they're going to be running for their lives, because now they know they're finished. So rather than them trying to plot something in a hidden room, they're basically going to be packing their bags and running and fleeing. That's what they're going to be doing. The cockroaches will scatter. That's really what I see them doing a lot more than trying to scheme and plan and try to take Trump down. It's too late, right? So do I feel they can pull things? Yes, most definitely. But I know it's not going to work, because the few that remain will try to do that. But they're not going to have the support of others, because others are now afraid for their lives. They know that Trump is going to hunt them down and basically execute them. And that's primarily what is going to be happening, right? These are, I don't know if these are going to be military tribunals or what happens, but we are actually going to be looking at major executions taking place. Even when I tuned into that small moon and I saw the original Anunnaki, the original Elohim there, they are ready to take these parasites' head off, right? They are not playing Mr. Nice Guy here, right? They are ready to hunt these people down and take them out, right? They've had it with them. So this is what I mean, is that they're running for their lives, scared. And those that remain that try to take him down are going to fail, and then they're going to be taken down afterwards. So no, there is no stopping Trump. There is no stopping him from getting into the White House. There's nothing stopping him with going into inauguration. They are going to try some things, but they're all going to fail. Corporate media is going to try and do some stuff and try to throw more eggs at him, but it's not going to work. He's going to get into inauguration, right? He has so much light protecting him right now. I can't even begin to tell you that. So happy and optimistic. Well, guys, I don't really take these stories seriously. I'm pleased for Trump that he's doing that. But like I said, I couldn't care less about politics, right? I don't care about any of this stuff. So I'm doing this because you guys care about it. And this is why I got to watch these things, because you guys are constantly asking me questions about all these things all the time. I don't care about these things. I'm happy just kind of living my life. I'm happy talking to you guys. I'm looking into these things for your guys' sake, right? Not for mine. I don't care about any of this stuff, right? But I share this because you guys are interested, and I help to give a bit of a deeper perspective from it, because there are those who don't give deeper perspectives. They just merely say, okay, nope, Trump's not going to win, and this is what's going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. What, huh? What are you talking about? Where's the details on this? So I'm just looking at it personally, just for the sake of you guys. I don't care about any of this, right? There's nothing in regards to the nature of events that are happening in the world that really bothers me or make me feel optimistic. I don't care about all that, right? I care about you guys. I care about the planet itself, and I don't care the magnetics of different events that are happening here, there, and the other thing, right? Makes feel good, and it's nice, and that's great, but like I said, who cares? What matters is our growth. What matters is our prosperity. What matters is how we're healing and how we're growing and expanding and evolving past these things and coming into our life and living our life. Now, there's something to celebrate. Okay. Thank you for your question. Okay. We got a few minutes left, so let me go down here a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, Woo Woo Woman says, Adronis, will the Epstein and Diddy lists be made fully public within the next year? Thank you. You know what? I don't think I even really need to bring Adronis in for this. They're already made public. A lot of these things pertaining to Epstein, this is exactly what Adronis would tell you. They're already made public. Okay, the Epstein list and the Diddy lists are already out there. There's already information that gives the entire lists of all of those people. They're already there. Why do you think that people will look at who Kamala Harris was bringing in to represent her? And everybody says, all these people are close friends with Diddy, right? You know it, right? We already know that list. We've already known the Epstein travel list. All of that is out there. So that's not a secret anymore. Whether the mainstream media will make it public is another decision, right? That's going to involve a lot of overhaul pertaining to the media. So are the lists already made fully public? Yes. Are they going to be exposed to the public? Most likely, right? I'd say it's about a 75% chance that it can be. I think that I don't know if we'll see the entire list, but we'll see people who are on those lists who are basically being taken down. But like I said, the corporate media is in the cabal's back pocket. In order for them to show something, that needs to end, right? And I think the corporate media is also going to involve people who have also been connections with Epstein and Diddy as well too, that need to be brought out. So there's a lot of things that are being exposed. I'm just sharing this real quickly because we are running out of time. But that's basically what Adronis would tell you, is that these lists have already been made public. It's just a matter of bringing them out into publicity, which is another matter. And I think that will happen with time. Within the next year, I don't know. Maybe another couple of years, probably. But like I said, I think certain people will be picked out of that list at first. Okay. As much as we have to remember that the corporate media that we know are not noble, good old people. Okay. This is one of the pillars that basically have helped to fuel corporations, pedophiles, and everything. And if you expect them just to suddenly throw everything aside and all of a sudden they're on your side, no, that's not how it works. Okay. This is going to take some major time to take down all of these things, to overhaul it. Again, this is why I say it might take a couple of years. We'll have some people probably being revealed publicly about those associations, but I don't think it's going to be the full list that's going to be revealed just yet. It's going to take a bit more time. Have some patience. This is going to get done. But like I said, it's about manpower. And it's about taking down these people that are trying to create censorship and prevent these things from coming out. But the lists are already public. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Okay. Okay, well, Judith, thank you for this comment. That's so true. You always said no to war. You kept us going. I truly appreciate you for keeping us centered and help us stay positive. I'm so happy. Yes, change is coming in time. Well, here's the thing, guys, and I appreciate that, Judith. I'm not here to give you guys hope. I'm here to give you guys truth, right? I don't believe in hope, right? Hope is nothing to me. So what I'm guys is that I'm looking deep, and if I see that there was indeed a tragedy, if there was something horrible coming, I would tell you. I would tell all of you that. But even if I see there's something like that, but then I see it's going to shift, it's going to change, because that's what Spirit keeps telling me all the time. If there is something so drastic and so horrible that it was just this stain that you just couldn't get out, I would look at that and I would tell you guys, well, this is this horrible stain. And here's what we're going to do is we're going to band together. We're going to work together in a group. We'll do a guided meditation. We'll clean out that stain. Okay. Sometimes we have had to do that. We've had to do that with hurricanes, right? Because I've told you guys, hurricanes are going to be intensifying. They're going to be very, very insane. I'll create a video. We'll do a meditation. We'll start shrinking them down. Okay. And we did that. We started to see a reduction in those hurricane intensities as they hit the land, right? And this is what I mean, is that many thousands of people will come together, and we're all doing it. If we see some stains on that carpet, and if I say, okay, that stain is really set in there, let's work together and let's clean it out. Okay. But like I said, that's really a very rare thing. Spirit is constantly telling me that's being cleared. Chemtrails, no, that's being cleared. Okay. 5G towers, no, that's being cleared. All of these things are constantly being in a state of getting cleared up. So all I'm telling you guys is the truth that I'm getting from the source. I'm not here to give you hope. Okay? You don't need it. Throw it away. It's not your business. Stay with truth. Truth is the shining light that enriches your soul. Okay? And that's what I would suggest working with more. How about we work with truth rather than hope? Okay? Hope is just you giving your power away. Keep your power and stay in truth. Simple as that. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Judith also said many predicted that there would be no election, that we would see not an election until next year. All said that it was an election, it would not be called until January. Tarot by Isabella Angel. Okay, yeah. Well, there you go. Different perspectives, right? Okay, let's go down a little bit further. Okay. Yeah, Noreen has an interesting comment here. The Khazarians started in Turkey way back in the 16th century. They were bad in every country they settled in. They were thrown out of every country. Yep, absolutely. The Khazaria country, like just in regards to its beginnings, I believe it started around the 12th and the 13th century. And you basically needed to have the neighboring countries go in and invade them because there were so many people that were getting killed. There were so many people that were being slaughtered. They would do ritualistic sacrifices, demonic sacrifices in Khazaria. They would basically abduct people off the roads and they'd start doing it. And countries had enough. And this is why Russia was kind of leading the charge and basically taking them out, right? And then they scattered like rats. So, yeah, Turkey in the 16th century, they've basically been kicked out of every single country. That's exactly why they went abroad. It's exactly why they were trying to make the United States of America their new nest, because nobody in the East wanted them. They were parasites. So they fled to the West, right? And that's exactly what they've had to battle for those particular amount of centuries up until now. So there you go. A little bit of a history lesson for you guys in case you didn't know that the Ukraine used to be Khazaria. Okay. Let's go down a bit more here. There's just a lot of comments right now, so I'm just reading on some comments here. Okay, this one here is from Oneness 8. Brad, what do you think of Hinduism and all of the beautiful gods? Where do they fit in the Golden Age, Lord Kalki? I have a lot of respect for Hinduism because I've learned a lot from the Hindu as well, too. And like I said, they're a people, not a religion. I have a lot of respect for that. There's been times where I've actually meditated on Ganesha. There's been times where I've meditated on Brahman. I've meditated on Vishnu. I've meditated on Shiva as well, too. So where do they fit in the golden age? They fit in every single age. This is not about the idea of an exclusion club, right? As long as humanity is on this planet, the nature of the gods will always be with us. That will never change. That will never fade. That will never be a spark that will run out. Okay. And all the beautiful gods. Well, like I said, they're archetypes. They're archetypes of the mind of man. That's why there's millions of them, right? We all have millions of archetypes within ourselves. And you could say that they do represent the pure nature of spirit. That's who they really are. It's not so much that they exist, it's much more that they are. And that's the nature of spirit within each and every one of us. So connecting with Hinduism and connecting with millions of gods, again, I'm not a Hindu, but I respect a great deal of Hinduism, right? With what they attempt to teach with people, because there's so many great stories. We think the Bible is something. You go back into ancient India and you look into all their history. One of my favorite books is the Bhagavad Gita, right? Another thing I really love is the Upanishads, right? The Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita would very much be up there with me, right? So I've always enjoyed that. So I've always respected the whole idea of the Hindu culture and of the people. And again, the gods, as I've talked about, represent the archetypes within ourselves. They are mind archetypes, and they can even transcend into spirit archetypes. So there you go. I've talked about that before, but there you go. That's what I can share about it. Thank you. All right. Okay. So just give me a moment here, guys. I'm still just looking down the list here. Okay, go further down. We're almost out of time, so I'm just going to take maybe about 1 or 2 more questions. Again, guys, if you have personal questions, you got to do it by donation. Okay, so donation needs to be done for personal questions, but we're pretty much out of time here. We're basically going to take one more question here, and then we're going to wrap up. Okay. Okay, I think we'll end with this one here. This one here is from CSK. Hi, Brad. Question for Adronis. How could one reverse an autoimmune disease like type 1 diabetes? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question. Well, let's look much more at the spiritual cause to the nature of diabetes rather than thinking that you need a physical, shall we say, tonic to basically clear it out, because that's not really the idea. When you're looking at the nature of diabetes and how that is actually being caused spiritually, the nature in regards to the form of diabetes really comes in the idea of the reluctance of your own self. The idea where you have taken on so many tragedies and taken on so many tragic situations unfolding, be it with the nature of personal loved ones, that it has led to the idea of great and complete rejection within you. It's something that you feel at your core. It is something that basically gnaws at you because you feel like you want to be seen as much in the eyes of others when you are basically facing the opposite. It is a strong state of depression. It is a strong state of anxiety where you do not feel hard. It holds a very, very strong connection to the traumas of both rejection and abuse. And it hits you at the core. It hits you at the solar plexus. So that is exactly what needs to be reversed. The reversal of letting go of this feeling of needing to be accepted so much, the reversal of feeling that, again, you have been victimized by the state of abuse and you have to control so much in your reality to put barriers around to prevent yourself from going deeper into that despair. And that is actually what creates a lot of diabetes. It is heavy anxiety, it is heavy despair, it is heavy depression, it is heavy sadness, it is heavy stress and tension, and it connects right here in the solar plexus. If you start clearing out the solar plexus, we can tell you that you will reverse that altogether. The solar plexus is actually what's being bombarded by what you commonly refer to as diabetes. It's not just the nature of toxins or viruses in the body. That does play some particular role, but that's only there because the defenses are down. So when you start liberating that whole, shall we say, very dense sphere of all of that rejection and of all of that abuse, and you clear that out, your body is going to be able to make a turnaround. Your organs will start getting replenished. Your cells will start becoming revitalized. Your immune system will start improving. It's taking that bowling ball out of the solar plexus and clearing it up. And that is what reverses the nature quite commonly manifested as diabetes. All right. We thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for all of your questions today. I really appreciate that. So I will see you all again next week. I'll be doing some more videos on the channel this week as well, too. I also forgot to do the announcements before I go. So this again here is the manifestation wheel. I was talking about it yesterday. One of my newest videos is on the manifestation wheel. I have it powering my entire house right now. And as soon as I turned it on, the energy was so incredibly powerful, I couldn't begin to tell you how strong it was. Definitely the most strongest of all the inventions I've created. So before I go, I'm going to go ahead and just make some announcements before we wrap up. All right, here we go.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions, including the 3 questions by email and distance healing, are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Okay, so if I have talked to you today and you want to do a session with me because there's a lot of things we can discuss, then again, please go to wisdomtransmissions.com. You can order a private session with me. I'm also doing the energy cord attunements. I've actually helped people with clearing away a lot of illnesses and ailments in those energy cord attunements. The same thing goes with a full body scan because I get much more of a deeper understanding about what you're going through. And we clear that up as well, too. People have had some miraculous things happen when they've worked with the energy cord attunement with me. I've had a person who basically their back was completely healed. I've had a person in that sense who was cramping on the right side. It was now completely healed. I was having people in that sense who were having diabetic problems, cancer problems. Those are completely healed. So again, that is available through the energy cord attunements and through the full body scan. Full body scan just gives you more depth, gives you more detail. We look much more into the body to find out what's happening. And then we look into certain areas that are compromised. And just like the energy cord attunements, I start working on those areas. So we have had some really miraculous breakthroughs. So check that out. That is on wisdomtransmissions.com. All right, moving on.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, etherx.co.
And of course, Etherics has the most powerful spiritual technology in the world. I am not exaggerating when I say that. That is exactly how powerful this is. This is the manifestation wheel. And again, as it is termed, it basically helps with bringing about manifestations very quickly in your life. It also works with healing. It also works with bringing in balancing of the astrological conditions of the planets and the stars to help balance your home. I have it on here. It is working. It's magic, and it feels amazing. My fiance actually had some cramps yesterday, and then I basically went to here, put it on her stomach, and they were gone within a matter of minutes. So again, it is extremely powerful. Manifestations are also coming forward in our home as well too. So grab the manifestation wheel. It is available. Again, we have a 50-50 installment plan that is available for all products on Etherics, including the manifestation wheel. You'll find that there at etherx.co. That's AETHERX.co. Okay, moving on.
Get readings with Brianne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Brianne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Brianne's website and book your session today at readingswithbrianne.com.
Okay, so Brianne is taking readings right now. She's taking bookings. So you can check out her website, readingswithbrianne.com, and we'll be ending here with the final announcement. And we are also doing the launch of the brand new Radiate Meditation series. So that is on the Radiate app where you'll find meditations. Next week, we have the brand new Radiate Premium meditation that's coming about. So I'll be doing a video on that as well too. It's about an hour long, and it provides such incredible charge in your body as you work with that guided meditation, as you work with the interface in the premium version. And you can start working with that. It increases and deeply helps you to clear out a lot of that debris in the body using that meditation guidance. So again, everybody, that is our webcast for today. I want to thank you all for your questions. I want to thank you all again for your personal readings. That was always fun. I love doing those. That's exactly why I'm bringing them onto Wisdom Transmissions. Like I said, they are just by donation only. I really appreciate all the ones that I've had today. Again, if I told you to please email me, please make sure you do. bradjohnson79@gmail.com. If there's other areas that we can work on that you need help with, you can always drop me an email and I can talk to you further on that between my busy schedule. So thank you guys. See you all next week, next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Blessings to you all. Take care. Namaskar, and may it be well with you. Goodbye for now.